Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 8th of September 2021 to talk about everything that went down tonight on AEW Dynamite. And you may not agree with me, but I feel like nothing really happened on this show. I felt like this show flew by. Like, by the time they were like, next up, we've got Jon Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki, I go, it's 6:45 already? Holy shit. I thought maybe we were getting to the top of the hour. I thought only an hour of this show had happened. And they told us we're going to the main event. I go, holy crap, nothing's happened on the. I felt like this was a nothing. And I know people are going to disagree with me, but I really felt like this was a nothing happening show. And Moxley and Suzuki, something happened there where their time got cut. I feel like Suzuki didn't get his entrance. These two just did some brawling, and then the match was over, and Moxley celebrated for like 3 minutes. What the fuck? I'll get into it once we get into it, but I was not into this show at all, really, to be completely honest. Nothing really was like, oh my God, that was great. Oh my God, that was really good. Yeah, we'll talk about it here in a moment, but Bryan Danielson was good. Only thing that I liked, for the most part. Good wrestling on the show. I will say that. But as far as the show and the storylines and the progression, it wasn't. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and Twitter.com/PWU Unlimited. Remember, if you are watching on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can help us out in the live chat by hitting that donate button down below or donating Twitch bits. Also, remember, if you're watching on Twitch, well, you can subscribe to the channel. And it's September. I forgot to talk about this. Not only is it September where you guys get 20% off of your sub for the month, but even though you guys get 20% off, as a creator, I still get the same amount of kickback, even if it was a regular month and you didn't get your sub as a discount. So if you go, I've always wanted to subscribe, I've always wanted to support you guys, I'll do it this month since I get 20% off. Go for it. Because if you have Amazon Prime, then you just link that Prime account to your Twitch account. Bada bing, bada boom. You can subscribe that way or with 20% off of a tiered subscription. On the flip side, if you're watching on YouTube, you can help us out by putting a super chat or a super sticker in the live chat. All super chats do get read live on the air. Also, remember, you can subscribe to the channel as a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Plus, remember, the best way to support us is by heading over to patreon.com/PWU Unlimited. So with that, guys, we've got Rampage to talk about. I've already kind of told you how I feel about the show. I felt like the show flew by and not much of note happened. So let's get into it. First thing we realized, as soon as the show kicks off, no Excalibur. Don't know where he was. Later in the show, they briefly mentioned that he's off for personal reasons or something, and Taz was in his place. And it was weird because Taz was in his place, but he wasn't in Excalibur's role. Nobody was. Commentary did feel a little lost. Like Excalibur's the one that leads the commentary and he keeps them on track. But tonight, they were just guys talking. No one was, giving us play-by-play. No one was really breaking down what was going on in the matches. And maybe that's why everything felt like nothing happening. At least to me. Because there was no Excalibur to keep everything symbiotic, I guess you can say. Gabriel Jericho only does commentary for Rampage. He's done Dynamite in the past, but right now his role, Rampage. So they're saying no Caliber or Jericho. That's a no point because Jericho doesn't do commentary on Dynamite because, well, he beat MJF. You already know how I feel about that bullshit. Anyways. The show began with a recap of the biggest moments from All Out, including the debuts of both Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole. The show then kicked off with Malachi Black and Dustin Rhodes, and these two worked really well together, I thought. And again, apparently, the damn TNT app made the crowd sound very nothing. Like you could tell this crowd was into stuff, but apparently they were a lot louder than I was hearing them. I don't know if that's the TNT app coming through my computer, my headphones, what. I had everything turned up 100%, and the crowd just sounded like a crowd at a show that liked everything, but didn't go ballistic for it like we would just saw at the pay-per-view or something. But apparently people there live was like, this is such a loud crowd. And I was like, really? It didn't come off like that on TV. Anyways, the two, Dustin and Black, went right at each other as soon as the bell rang. Dustin landed a couple quick clotheslines and an atomic drop. He followed it up with a German suplex in the corner, or out of the corner, actually. Dustin kept up on the attack on the floor and thought about a destroyer, but Black fought out and backed suplex Dustin through the timekeeper's table. Black continued to dominate here. Got a nice dueling chant for both men. There was a knee lift to the gut from Black that got a 2. Black then applied a choke before transitioning into a heel hook, forcing Dustin to fight to the ropes. Dustin tried to fight back with right hands, but Black easily kicked out. Dustin collapsed on a hammer throw attempt, selling the leg, and we hear from Black, "Are you entertained? Are you not entertained?" Eventually, Dustin did come back with a shoulder tackle and a snap power slam. Him and Randy Orton have some of the best snap power slams in the biz. Dustin cradled Black and got a 2 off of it. He landed corner punches until Black kicked out. And there was I just lost my spot. Black kicked out his leg, then hit a running knee, and took down Dustin. Black then moved to the floor and pulled Cody's boot out from underneath the ring. He then brought the boot into the ring and taunted Dustin with it. Dustin fired up and hit the drop down. A right hand followed by a Canadian Destroyer for a good near fall, and the crowd chanted, "You still got it." Dustin went for the running bulldog, but Black countered it and sent him into an exposed turnbuckle. There's a spinning heel kick that finished off the match with Black picking up the victory. After the match, Dustin's mouth was bleeding profusely. Jabbar Robbins says that Caliber is getting married. Interesting. Then why would they say, oh, he's just out for personal reasons and not he's getting married? And is he getting married today? Because if he ain't getting married to, say, the weekend, like most weddings, why couldn't he work tonight and then be done for the rest of the week? They ain't got Rampage on Friday. Very weird. Very weird. Also, Warm Hedgehog says, did you hear about Body Slam? They said WWE and AEW are no plans to sign Tessa Blanchard. I heard it, but I didn't report on that because I've heard contradicting things. Depending on who you speak with, at least in WWE, because the source I've spoken to was within WWE. Depending on who you speak to in the company, some are against signing Tessa, but then there are others who keep advocating that we need her in WWE. So I don't know if maybe they just spoke to one of those we don't need her people, or if that's really there is no plan. But what I do know is that there are people that say we shouldn't sign her, and there are other people that don't just say we should, but say we need to sign her. So I didn't say anything on it because I've heard contradicting stories on Tessa, at least for WWE. Nothing AEW. No one's in AEW that I've ever spoken to has said anything about Tessa. So ban this motherfucker in the live chat. And also, Jabba Robin says, they said he's getting married. Oh, well, then I must have missed that because I didn't hear them say that he's getting married. I just heard JR try to say something about Excalibur not being there. And then Taz or Tony, someone chimed in and said something about personal reasons or something. I mean, I can look it up really fast. Give me 2 seconds. Excalibur. Okay, so here it is. So I did miss it. Jim Ross did explain that Excalibur is off commentary tonight because he's preparing to get married in a couple of days. Okay, so I did miss that. Thank you for letting me know that, Jabbar. I must have just missed that. I honestly did not catch that at all. Going forward, the Lucha Bros had a video talking about their championship victory. I thought this was going to be more because Jim Ross goes to send it to the video, and he's like, this past weekend we may have saw one of the greatest tag team matches of all time. Now here's a video package on it. And so I thought we were going to get a cool like video recap of that tag team ladder match or tag team cage match. And then it's just the Lucha Bros in the back going, oh, we got the titles with blood, sweat, and tears. And now we welcome any challengers. Cero Miedo. So, yeah. I thought this was going to be more, but this was nothing. Also, looks like Eddie and Miro ain't done. Eddie cut a promo. He called Miro out for using the low blow. Miro then said that he'd offer Kingston's broken bones to his wife. He had to... What did he say? He said, I had to ice my balls after that match, too. He said, I'll offer your broken bones to my wife and his soul to God. Interesting. Looks like this ain't done. We get Miro and Eddie again in Arthur Ashe? Maybe do the title change? I don't know, just saying. CM Punk came out, and this felt like, hey, Phil, we need to fill time. Go out there and speak, and then Taz will interrupt. Because this was just a lot of jumbled, nothing made sense to anything. Every line was like, all right, I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to go out there and talk about this, and then I'm going to go out there and talk about this. I got no actual points, but hey, let's just talk about things. None of it's going to actually intertwine to any of it. Like, this just felt like a jumbled mess. The Punk came out, and he thanked Darby, Sting, and all the fans. He said wrestling is like riding a violent bicycle. And he's back. We got a loud You Still Got It chants. Punk type up. He said, we got a lot of people here tonight. A lot of cool things are going to happen. We got Minoru Suzuki. We've got Ruby Soho. Bryan Danielson. Oh, and right there, front row, Aunt Linda. And he referenced the aunt of Brian Pillman Jr., he referenced Dark Side of the Ring and how she raised him and this and that. That was really cool. She was sitting front row with, I want to say, Brian's sister. So, Punk says that the first person he texted after his match was his wife, April, and she said, well, babe, what's next? So Punk decided, I'm going to leave this up to the crowd. I'm going to let them decide what's next. And I go, what? Huh? So there's no plan? Oh, okay, here it is. Taz just all of a sudden starts talking. And he's like, don't say anything about Team Taz. And Punk's like, I haven't. I didn't. What? And I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? He's like, you're going to put my guys' names in your mouth. Don't talk about Ricky Starks. Don't talk about Hook. Don't talk about Hobbs. And I'm like, what the fuck is this all about? This makes 100% no sense for anything. For anything. And Punk's kind of like, what do you... Punk seemed confused as fuck. I don't know if that was shoot or not. But finally he goes, you know what? I could take on all your guys. Give me Ricky Starks. Give me Hook. Give me Powerhouse Hobbs. And Taz Lasso goes, you want Hobbs? What? You want Hobbs? And I was just like, what? He's like, where did this come from? Taz is just on commentary, so all of a sudden he's going to pop up and tell Punk, don't mention my guys. Like, well, he didn't, you doof. Like, what? Punk then shouts Taz, send any of your members, and told them to beat him if they can or survive if I let them. Taz gets back on commentary. He's like, he used my line. And I'm like, oh, don't even start that. This Taz is like, he used my line against me. And the first thing I thought of when he said he used my line, I thought, freaking Ric Flair and Jay Lethal. That's my line. No, that's my line. No, that's my line. No, that's my line. No, that's my line. When Taz said he used my line, that's the first thing I thought was one of the greatest wrestling segments of all time. And yes, I say TNA had one of the greatest wrestling segments of all time. Ric Flair and Jay Lethal going back and forth. I could watch that every day. I could watch that clip every day. But eventually, I think Punk's just going to face Ricky Starks one week. He's going to face Powerhouse Hobbs another. I didn't think that this quick in, they could be doing something with CM Punk that has me this disinterested. Like, I have absolutely no interest in CM Punk versus Team Taz. Maybe if they still had Brian Cage. But like Hobbs, they've done nothing with Hobbs. Ricky Starks, oh, he beat Cage for the FTW title and kind of just disappeared. But at least Brian Cage, they were doing things with, and he was being built up pretty well. But it's just like, oh, he's going to take on Hobbs. Oh, he's going to take on Starks. Cool, whatever. I never in my wildest dreams thought that AEW would bring in CM Punk, and after one match, I'd be disinterested in whatever he's doing next. I'm going to say it right now. I just did. Fuck it. Going forward, Santana and Ortiz said that their feud with FTR sparked something within them. Now, they're turning their attention on the rest of the tag team division. Guess maybe they go for the tag titles. I was asked the other night, hey, who goes next to get the Lucha Bros? Well, Santana and Ortiz probably. Johnson, a lot of people are waiting for Hook to make that debut. Ruru Soho in the back was asked about her open challenge tonight. And she said she didn't want people to think that she just got lucky in the Casino Battle Royale. Britt Baker and company would walk up saying that Soho's just the flavor of the month. Soho came back saying that she was one of the people who helped break. Let's say this a couple times. She was one of the people that helped break Baker into the business. She thinks Baker's got all these nicknames as a defense against letting people see who she really is. Baker told Soho, go run away from catering, just like you spent the last 4 years of your life at. Tony Schiavone then said, I know, Soho told Tony actually, I know she's a girl and all, but I'm going to whoop her ass. I hated the catering line. Because they use that line, oh, you're stuck in catering. They use that line for people that don't get used on television. Well, I mean, when's the last time we saw Abaddon other than the Battle Royal? Sonny Kiss, Joey Janela. I mean, where have they been? Sitting in catering? Like, there's been guys signed to AEW that we don't really ever see. So, yeah. Going forward, we have Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin. This is all right. Both guys looked all right. They gave Dante Martin more than I expected. Dante immediately went to the skies, but Hobbs caught him off a springboard. Dante used evasive maneuvers and hit a drop kick that sent Hobbs to the floor. After commercial break, Hobbs was in control. He pummeled Dante straight down to the mat. Dante came back with a shotgun dropkick and a running senton for a 2. Hobbs rolled to the floor, and Dante looked to hit a tope, but Hook hopped up on the apron to block it. Dante decided to hit a tope con grillo instead of a top rope, or a tope con grillo, instead over the top of Hook onto Hobbs on the floor. Dante kind of hit a Kamingiri, but then Hobbs avoided a springboard. Dante hit a running kick before Hobbs turned that running offense into a spine buster and picked up the victory. Hobbs was definitely knocked a little loopy, it seemed like, at one point in that match, which led to a little miscommunication. I'm going to say that right now. Going forward, Dan Lambert with the Men of the Year cut a promo. He congratulated AEW for bringing in all the new talent, but it's all to avoid the truth, which is that this company has only 2 real men wrestling, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Together they will scream their truths. So if there are any tough guys who want to come shut them up, they better come do so. They got a mouthpiece now. I didn't think these 2 guys needed a mouthpiece, especially Ethan Page, but they got a mouthpiece now. Gabriel and Roman both say Dark Elevation. Yeah, what about the people that don't watch Dark Elevation? And I looked it up. For Sonny Kiss, he wrestles like maybe once a month. He actually hasn't wrestled in 2 months. And haven't heard anything of an injury. Worm Hedgehog says, Tim, did you have Sonic Colors Ultimate? Not really interested. I got Sonic Mania. That quenches my thirst. MJF came out for a promo. This is another one that it wasn't like all over the place like the Punk one, but I felt MJF's portion went a little long. So he came out flanked with Wardlow. MJF explained that he beat Chris Jericho 3 times before Sunday, then technically a 4th in that match before he was screwed by biased referees. And I go, hey, I was singing your praises during that match about that. I couldn't agree with MJF more that was shitty and stupid. If this was real, I would be even more pissed that the referee did that. I know it's all storyline in this, and that's why technically, yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid to do the whole, well, MJF won. No, the referee's going to, I'm not going to harp on this again. I already did. But I agree with MJF, what he said tonight, that it was a biased referee thing. I don't agree with the biased referee thing. That's a storyline thing for him. But I thought it was stupid to do the ref calls the finish because she counted the 3. Then another ref tells her she messed up. So you have to restart the match. Like, what? Huh? Are you really going to tell me we're going to have a fight in UFC where, no, this wouldn't work in UFC. Say we have a boxing match where a guy's got to stay down till 10 and then he gets, he's knocked out. The ref counts to 10. But the ref counts 10, yet technically the guy was in a position where the count should have stopped. So another ref's going to come in and tell that referee, no, you shouldn't have counted to 10 because at 9 he was technically up. That ain't never going to happen in a real fucking combat sport. So why should that have happened in this combat sport? The referee's decision is final, whether the referee's decision is right or not. Whether the referee's decision was that he messed up, she messed up, they messed up, whatever you want to say. Again, it's like in boxing. If a referee counts somebody to 10 and says, that's it, the fight's over, and they technically were in a position where a different ref would have said, no, they were up at 9, they're not going to come out in the middle and say, hey, you messed up, keep this fight going. No. Because, and here's something that MJF should have brought up. Aubrey counts 3. And they go for a good 2 minutes with him thinking he won. So he's already in the headspace of, I won. I'm not concentrated on fighting Jericho anymore. And then Jericho just dominates for the rest of this. Because if this was a real fight, you would say that MJF was already out of that mindset of I'm in a fight. Because he's in the mindset of I won, awesome, my guard's down, because I don't have to worry about the fight no more. So, yeah. Again, stupid. MJF started insulting the city of Cincinnati, calling it Shit-Cincinnati. He then said, oh, all you marks are going to go tweet that I'm just doing this for cheap heat. And I go, yeah, and if WWE did something like this, they'd call it lazy booking. But it's AEW, so they won't, because they're biased fans. He then said, he said Cincinnati is in the Midwest, and it's called the Midwest for a reason. Because it's all mid. He said something about Skyline Chili. I have no clue what that is. Never had it. He said the Cincinnati Reds are mid. He said some other kind of things are mid. And then, for some weird-ass reason, he told fucking Brian Pillman's aunt, don't look at me, Linda. And I go, okay, what? That's as stupid as Taz jumping up saying, don't talk about my guys, Punk, when Punk never talked about Taz's guys. And now MJF's like, don't look at me, Linda. Like, bro, she's an old lady. You're really worried about her doing something to you? And then he calls Pillman's sister 16 and pregnant. And I'm like, what is this stupid? This got stupid. This got really dumb quick. Because MJF I wasn't against the whole shitting on the city thing. I guess cheap heat, it's whatever. Again, it's going to get them booze. But then involving the family and, you're 16 and pregnant and Aunt Linda. And how many people watch Dark Side of the Ring and even know who she is? You know what I mean? Anyways, he walks down to Linda and Pillman's sister, and he's insulting them, and she's like, I'm the daughter of Brian Pillman. And it's like, okay, cool. And then out comes Pillman Jr. in a Bengals jersey, and he says, Maxwell Jerkoff Friedman. He said he knows that MJF was born and grew up with a silver spoon. But in Cincinnati, they breed badasses like Brian Pillman and John Moxley. Said MJF may be from Long Island, but Pillman is from the streets of Cincinnati. He then said, welcome to the jungle. All right. MJF then brought up Pillman's drug-addicted mother. Pillman then got heated and hot. Wardlow stood between the two. MJF then suggested that Pillman's mother should have swallowed when it came to him. He then told Wardlow, hey, big guy, help me like you helped me beat Jericho, which you didn't, so go stand in the corner. And Wardlow looked at him like, fuck you talking to like that? Pillman and MJF get face to face. And he goes, you know what? I'm going to do to you what your mother really should have done to you, and that's abort. Pillman then attacks. Wardlow standing in the corner looking dumb. And all of a sudden, he's like, oh, he's attacking MJF. I better go grab him. And he throws Brian right off of MJF. Out comes Griff Garrison. He gets knocked out with the diamond ring. And Pillman's like laying up on the ropes. I'll get you, MJF, one of these days. And it's like, Another segment that started good. But then it was just, what the fuck was this at the end? Arthur Ashe, we're going to get MJF versus Pillman? Because I don't think it was announced for next week, but I know Pillman said something about yeah, it wasn't announced. No, it wasn't announced for Grand Slam. It wasn't announced for Grand Slam. That's right. Because he goes, I went to Tony Khan and I got this. Yeah. So going forward, where was I? John Moxley got a promo addressing Minoru Suzuki, saying that he's in the jungle tonight and you're going to die. I want to say thank you to Gabriel for the super chat donation. He says, when do you think Hangman returns? After Full Gear? I don't know, because it all depends on when his wife gives birth. He wants to be there for the birth, doesn't want to accidentally be on the road or anything. And I don't know how much time after she gives birth he's planning to take off. But Tony said that he could take as much time as he wants. He's like, that's the one thing in AEW, we can pivot. And if somebody needs the time off for specific reasons, especially something like this, we can pivot. So honestly, I don't know. Next up, Ruby Soho took on Jamie Hayter. Hayter used her power as an advantage early. Soho caught a pump kick and returned with a kick of her own. But Hayter sent Soho into the ropes and to the floor ahead of her break. Upon return, Soho used the head scissors to send Hayter face first into the turnbuckle. She followed it up with a running kick and a modified DDT for a 2. There was some kind of a face buster from Soho. Hater overpowered her and hit a sliding lariat for a 2. Soho then hit the wind-up kick, the former Riot kick, and got the pinfall just kind of out of nowhere. Like the match was going along. Oh, shit. She had her finish. She won. It's over. Okay. Rushing for time? Maybe. Someone go along? I don't know. Fucking MJF. I mean, Marty ain't here to go along, so it couldn't have been him. Going forward, after the match, Rebel and Baker would attack Soho. Riho would then run down to make the save. Chris Statlander would then run down to make the save with a steel chair, and the heels ran away. So I guess we get Britt, Rebel, and Jamie against a team of Ruby, Riho, and Statlander. Brian Cage and Ricky Stark said they ain't done yet, and they're eventually going to have a one-on-one match. That's all they said. We ain't done, and we're going to have a one-on-one match. So going forward, Varsity Blondes were in the locker room. We got one of them Alex Marvez interviews where he's like, huh? Slow down, bro. Like he rushed. We see you guys here, and we saw what happened earlier, and can you give us an update on your teammate, Griff Garrison, and what's going on with him, Brian Pillman Jr.? And I'm like, slow down, bro. Slow down. So he's like, oh, you want an update on my partner? Look at him. He got knocked out by MJF. He said, but I went to Tony Khan directly, and I got the match made, and in 2 weeks, it's going to happen. You versus me. I think they claim just randomly walk in. A lot of just random what the fuck's going on stuff on this show tonight. Max Caster goes, I went to Tony Khan too, and hey, guess what? I'm going to fight you on Rampage. Okay. Because that makes absolutely 100% sense. Not. Like, huh? Huh? The Elite come out. Tony Schiavone introduces them. And we get Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, the Young Bucks, Brandon Cutler, Nakazawa, Don Callis. Callis brought up the fact that Kenny Omega won the top spot in the PWI 500. Said, and all out, all about the Elite. And Nick said, yeah. And we got back one of our best friends. And Adam Cole makes a big entrance and comes out. But you can see what he did during his entrance. He's a heel, but he's not the kind of heel like he was in NXT where he still wants to get that pop. So he sets it up, and then the music goes boom, and then he goes, no. He does the thing between the booms to not get the big boom. So this is weird, and I didn't like this. Cole grabs the mic, and he immediately gets in the face of Tony Schiavone. And he says, quote, if you ever look at Britt the wrong way, I'll slap those glasses off your face and whoop your ass. Oh, get out of my ring, nerd. And he kept saying, get out of my ring, nerd. Hurry up, nerd. And I go, whatever. And I was also happy, though. He did no, I got to take a shot at WWE. Nope, all he did. And some people said, oh, there's a shot at WWE. He's calling AEW the greatest promotion in the world. Well, of course he's gonna. He works for them now, so he's got to. Anyways, he calls AEW the greatest professional. He says, AEW is the greatest and he kind of paused and goes, he says, AEW is the greatest professional wrestling company in the entire world. And it's thanks to these guys right here in this ring right now of the Elite. Cole may be new to AEW, but he's been Elite for a very long time. He said he's a once-in-a-generation wrestler, and he's the very best. Remember what he said there. He's a once-in-a-generation wrestler, and he's the very best. He said the fans should be thanking him because the Elite is now complete. Next week, he will be making his in-ring debut. Did not mention an opponent. Said everyone, we'll see how elite he really is. He then started talking about the other people in the Elite, called the Bucks the best tag team in the world. He then said Kenny Omega is a once-in-a-lifetime professional wrestler. Once in a lifetime, and is the top wrestler right now, and having the AEW title proves that. I think my theory is coming true, ladies and germs. So my theory on Sunday was Adam Cole really doesn't want to be with the Elite, but he's in with them to get on their good side before he turns on Kenny. He called himself a once-in-a-generation wrestler, but he called Kenny a once-in-a-lifetime wrestler. When you say once in a generation, that is supposed to be above, better, greater than once in a lifetime. He also said Kenny's the best pro wrestler right now, and the AEW title proves it. So he is saying that Kenny is only the best right now because he's the champion. He said that he is the very best. I think that there is hope for my theory that Adam Cole is actually going to turn on the Elite, challenge Kenny for that belt, and I say he be the one to get that belt off of Kenny Omega. That's where I'm going. I'm going to say it right now. Also, when's Kyle O'Reilly's contract up? They can sign Bobby Fish, give me Red Dragon, and Adam Cole, and an Undisputed Era against the fucking Elite. Give me. And I know what you're going to say, oh, you're going to put them together like WWE. Fuck off with that shit. Because I tweeted something about this, and I got responses like that. Oh, it's just copying WWE, putting them together in Undisputed Era. No. Give me Kenny and the Bucks against Adam and Red Dragon. That would be great. That would be great. So Omega starts to talk, and he says, you know what I hate? I hate interruptions. And then we hear, vroom, 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 but apparently Kenny doesn't hear it because he's got to finish what he was saying. And then he finally looks over and goes, crap. Now comes Bryan Danielson. Omega went to speak, and Danielson yinked the mic right out of Kenny's hand. He snatches the microphone away and asks the fans if they want to see Bryan Danielson fight Kenny Omega. He said Omega talks about being the best wrestler in the world. And when he says wrestler, he emphasizes wrestler. He said, but he's afraid of Danielson. He said, Omega isn't on my level. Danielson stopped an attack and locked in the LeBell lock, even though I think it was Tony called it an armbar. The Elite all attacked Danielson before Christian Cage, Frankie Kazarian, and Jurassic Express all run down to make the stave. Luchasaurus pressed Marco's stunt on a pile, and Jungle Boy hit a big, huge dive. There's also a spot in all of this where Adam Cole tried to jump up on the apron, and Frankie nailed him with a shot, which is leading to next week, Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian. Probably going to be a pretty good match. Frankie is very, very reliable. He's like Christian. Not as good as Christian, but like Christian. When you need to throw somebody in with somebody and know that, okay, this match is going to be good no matter what we do, you throw in Frankie Kazarian. It's just like Christian Cage. When you say, we need a solid wrestler to give this guy a good look, and I'm not saying Adam Cole needs someone to make him look good, but we need a solid wrestler that we know this match is going to go near perfect. You throw out Christian Cage in there, or you throw Frankie Kazarian in there. Those are two guys where if you need a match that you know for a fact nothing's going to go wrong, you throw one of those guys in there. And again, I'm not saying Adam Cole needs someone to make him look good. I'm just saying that Frankie Kazarian is a great first opponent for him because you know that match is going to be pretty dang good. Jack Dawson says, keep up the good work. What WWE superstars would leave WWE, and what are your thoughts on having the PS5 for the first time? Love the PS5. As far as who can leave WWE, I mean, we've heard Kevin Owens, and I'm working on another story right now about somebody else who may have expressed interest. I don't know if it's possible at the moment, but somebody else in WWE that may have expressed interest in AEW. I'm working on something. So as the Elite's gone, they're out of the, well, not gone, but they're out of the ring. All that's left is Brandon Cutler. He falls victim to a big running knee from Bryan Danielson. So we get some lineup updates. This week on Rampage, we got Pac versus Andrade. Darby Allin and Sting will cut a promo. 6-woman tag. Britt Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter against Ruby Soho, Chris Statlander, and Riho. And Brian Pillman Jr. will take on Max Caster. As far as next week's AEW Dynamite, Adam Cole take on Frankie Kazarian. Jade Cargill will go one-on-one with Layla Hirsch. And Darby Allin will fight Shawn Spears. I also missed it. Tully Blanchard cut a promo saying something about Shawn Spears make a match between, or he said Tony Khan make a match between Shawn Spears and Darby Allin. Why? Because it's random ass shit tonight. Also in 2 weeks, just a random, hey, Cody's back. Grand Slam. So is that the big surprise? Grand Slam, the big thing. Cody versus Malachi Black. And then we also got MJF and Brian Pillman Jr. Suzuki comes out for his match. And he's just got a bare bones walk to the ring, get in the ring, you're done kind of entrance. They don't even give him Kaze ni Nare. And you know that crowd would have done it. After the reception and the reaction he got for his entrance when he came out at the pay-per-view, you think they would do it. You could have cut a minute off that Moxley celebration. We need 3 minutes of Moxley celebrating in the crowd. And the match itself was just a match, nothing special. Moxley comes down, of course. This match was good, but whatever. One point, you look at Suzuki and you go, oh, fuck, what happened? He's bleeding over his right eye. Like blood everywhere. He realizes, so he goes, ha, 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 licks the blood, wipes it on him. Good visual. But this match was nowhere near the previous Jon Moxley-Suzuki match that we saw in New Japan. And it only went about 8 minutes. They immediately traded forearms and boots. Suzuki laid in strikes, and Moxley came back with some elbow smashes before commercial. During that picture-in-picture break, Suzuki used leverage within the ropes to gain control. Once back, Suzuki was still in control. Moxley caught a soccer kick and bit Suzuki's face. Suzuki returned the favor. They traded headbutts, leading to a double-down spot. They traded forearms once more. Suzuki ducked under a lariat and locked on the rear naked choke. He transitioned to the pile driver position, but Moxley fought out and hit a paradigm shift. At this point, Suzuki was bleeding pretty badly, like I stated, and managed to kick out one of a paradigm shift. He shrugged off repeated lariat shots before cutting Moxley off with a running drop kick. Suzuki locked on a sleeper, and Moxley escaped and hit a series of punches. There's a high-angle paradigm shift that followed up with the victory. So Jon Moxley does win in his hometown. They called it the Jon Moxley homecoming match. So is that going to be a thing in AEW? Whenever you fight in your hometown, it's your homecoming match? I hope not, because that's kind of hokey. Moxley celebrated in the crowd way too long, for like 3 minutes. And yeah, that was it. That was Dynamite. The show goes off the air. I was like, oh, well, at least the show was quick, because that was a lot of random ass shit and nothing happened and stuff. I'm going to say it right now. But with that, guys, you've heard what I thought about tonight's Dynamite. Now let's check what you guys thought. Remember, you can put super chats in that live chat on YouTube. All super chats do get read live on the air. You can also text into 510-906-1341. Let's pull up the poll. As far as the Twitch poll does go, everybody liked Dynamite. Good to see, 100%. As far as the YouTube poll does go, not quite the same. 66% liked Dynamite. 19% thought it was just all right. And 15% did not like the show. As far as text messages do go, this first text message here states, who do you think should challenge for the AEW Championship, Kenny Omega title, and what's going on with Hangman Adam Page? Well, Hangman's, as I said earlier, out because he asked for time off because his wife's about to give birth to their first child. Tony Khan said, sure, you can have the time off. As far as who challenges Omega, I mean, it's blatantly obvious. His next challenger is Bryan Danielson. Chris says, I like AEW tonight, but I have a question for you. Do you think it time bring in Women's Tag Team Championship? No. They don't have enough women. Just like in WWE, they brought him in without having enough real women to make teams. Getting a lot of hodgepodge. This person says, do you think AEW ever let Hook get a debut match? Yeah, eventually when they feel that he's trained up enough. Or says, do you see Bronson Reed joining AEW? Sure, anything's possible. I don't know. I have no clue what his aspirations are. Does he want to stay in America or does he want to go back to Australia? That's the big question. It says, who do you think Brian will fight first in AEW? Well, it's going to probably be Kenny or some member of the Elite. And who do you think is up next for Kenny in his championship? Again, Bryan Danielson. Also, holy crap, I just realized I skipped an entire match on this show that actually was kind of important. That I don't even have notes for. For some reason, I didn't even write down notes for the Pinnacle, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, and Sean Spears. Like, my notes never saved for that match, I guess. Against Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and John Silver. So basically, not too much to talk about here. The Pinnacle defeats the Dark Order. But there was some stuff that went down in this match. Dark Order not getting along. Dark Order not working well together. And Jim Ross noting on commentary, maybe it's time Dark Order gets a one true leader again. Maybe they need somebody to keep them in line. And then later there was a big old thing with them where Anna Jay's like, we need to work together. We need to get together, blah, blah, blah. We need to act like a team. So I forgot about that match. Didn't have it in my notes at all. I don't know what happened. My Google Doc must not have saved that. Anyways, so with them saying, you know, they're heavily putting out there, Dark Order may need an actual leader to keep them in line, to keep them working as a unit. Was that the tease we've been waiting for? For Wyndham Rotunda to come in and say, I've spoken to Brody from the beyond, and he told me that this is not what he envisioned for the Dark Order, and I will live his legacy on and make sure that you guys get back on the right track. Something like that. I don't know. Final text message here does state, I didn't like the line Dark Order doesn't have. Oh, okay. What I just talked about. First, they didn't like the line saying the Dark Order needs a leader. Says they know why they don't have a leader. True, but if you say that you're bringing in one of Brody's closest friends in the world to lead this Dark Order, and that maybe he's got some sort of powers, because we already know Bray Wyatt can speak to the dead. He speaks to Abigail, so maybe now his new Abigail is Brody. Just saying. And I mean, there's a couple of big shows that can debut him on. You got Arthur Ashe coming up in 2 weeks. I wouldn't do it there. I would wait 3 weeks and do it in Rochester, New York, the hometown of Brody Lee. That is when I would debut. If he's debuting, if they're bringing in Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, as the new leader of the Dark Order, I would do it in Brody's hometown. The same town that, well, Brody was supposed to debut in. But because of COVID, he debuted in Jacksonville. But yeah, you know what I mean. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and Twitter.com/PWU Unlimited. With that, we will be live again on Friday, talking Friday Night SmackDown. And I'll let you guys know if I'm going to review Rampage. From what I see here, I'm not too interested in this week's Rampage. Again, my rule is taped Rampages. If I hear good things from the spoilers, we'll review it. If it's not something that seems that meh, we won't review the taped ones, but all live Rampages will get reviewed. But with that, guys, we'll see you back on Friday. I will be live later on back on my personal Twitch, twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy, playing some more of that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your night, and hopefully I see some of you guys in a little bit. Have a good one, guys.